You're in the Business Insurance Zone with me, Steve Savant, national insurance columnist and financial color commentator. This week on The Biz, our monthly update series for October 2012. And on today's show, our life insurance underwriting update with special guest Jessica Lopez, impaired risk expert.
When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Well, welcome everyone to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm your host, Steve Savant, and we're broadcasting live to a nationwide audience of financial professionals right here in Fountain Hills, Arizona, home of America's largest fountain. And with me today, the princess of premium herself, Jessica Lopez. Welcome to the show, Jessie.
Great to be here, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Well, guess what? Jessie and I are wearing our pink ribbon lapels for breast cancer awareness. We've joined the Pink Nation in awareness. Well, all month I'll be tweeting and blogging on breast cancer awareness, and we just want to join all the big sponsor players like the NFL as an example, because you'll be seeing pink shoes all this month.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And pink little collars and pink hats all over the place. And we just want to give you a heads up. You know, we have a couple carriers that are going to be playing big in breast cancer underwriting. And so remember, when we do our show, our Halloween show, which is coming up here in about 3 weeks or so, you'll want to watch that show. And if you have people that you say, man, I have women in my life that are really struggling with this, but we need coverage, just remember, you might be able to really get some really good coverage. We've changed underwriting on this. I mean, it's really changed.
Absolutely, and that's a disease that has absolutely touched many people, millions of people. I mean, just about everybody that I know and talk to. My own family, for example, have had somebody that has fought with with breast cancer, and so it's great to hear that a couple of our carriers are, getting on board with the rest of the nation in terms of, supporting, and the medicine has changed drastically. People are recovering and surviving, which is phenomenal.
They are, and it's really, the protocols are there, and underwriting is going to be unbelievable come November 1. So if you got some cases, and that just leads me to my next subject, which is I want to be into sandbagging or holding back substandard cases that I think I'm going to get better treatment in that last 60 days of the year, which I've just seen time and again throughout my 30 years in the business. And I want you to start thinking, these cases, I don't want to submit this right away, I'm going to hold back. But remember, if you need to cover the client, you need to do it. Just do a quarterly premium just to make sure they're covered, and then we'll resubmit the file and see if we can get a better deal. Also, when you're thinking about substandard, about sandbagging, I want to actually think about, I might have a client that's preferred non-smoke. If I hold back, I might get enough health credits to get that person to preferred plus, super preferred. So I don't want to just hold that back in regards to just substandard. I may want to start thinking about preferred as well.
Absolutely, and if your client needs coverage now, of course, go ahead and get that in, but again, we can always revisit the case later on if we need to. And Steve brings up a great point in terms of the competition that comes out at the end of the year. This is the best time of year, in my opinion, because it's just like, the carriers and underwriters are sitting there, they have these competitive cards they're holding on to, and they're laying them all out there for us. So
I love it. And remember, the premium tolerance test, I always like to do this thing called the bookend quotes. A premium tolerance test is, I pretty much know going in what the numbers are going to be. Here's the best possible rating.
Right.
Here's probably what we're going to get. And or the best possible and the probably what we're going to get. When I look at those two, the reason I bring this up is because if you can't write a check for the best possible, why are we submitting the case?
Exactly.
Because it just really just takes everybody's time, effort, money to underwrite it. We pretty much have a handle on this now, and we're going to be spending our not only healthy life credits, our own Brokers Alliance production credits. We're all going to be looking at our consortiums. We belong to two of the biggest ones in the United States to look at, is there any play for the power of production? And believe you me, production speaks. No doubt about it.
Absolutely.
So just keep that in mind. Sandbag, remember the premium tolerance test. Now, Jesse, before we get into this, I know you got a couple cases. I want to look at those cases if you don't mind doing it right now. We have a few cases that we're looking at that I thought were pretty extraordinary. And remember, this is the underwriting today. This kind of deals, I think, are only going to get better in November.
Absolutely. First, I wanted to go ahead and just point out how America in general just basically comes to the plate and has come up with some very competitive offers for us in the past. I'll give you an example of one in particular. This is regarding a 50-year-old client who has an existing whole life policy with considerable cash value. Now, when we're talking about end of year underwriting and so forth, it's not just having to do with medical impairments, but financial underwriting. We're looking at the big picture here, looking at your client's portfolio to see how we can better their situation. In this particular scenario, the American General did come back with an offer of Preferred Plus on an informal application that was submitted in. We considered all the product options and clients' premium tolerance to guarantee the policy for the lowest annual premium, adding into consideration a 1035 exchange from the whole life carrier. Okay? Now, American General's premium was second best, but the overall value of the client, understanding the American General Secure Lifetime GUL, offered significant long-term guaranteed cash value in addition to a competitive GUL premium. So in a nutshell, American General Secure Lifetime GUL for the best combination of price, guarantees, and flexibility was the best option for this client.
Just a heads up, keep that in mind. Sometimes the client says, you know, for a little bit more money, rather than taking the cheapest, the guarantees for just that little bit of more money, it actually is worth it. And remember, the longer the timeline, the more I want to think about it. And it depends upon the impairment too, because if it was really an impairment that was table D and above, I don't really care about the guarantees because more than likely you're not going to be around.
Exactly.
So,
Good point.
hate to be so brutal.
Well stated.
Now, how about the second one?
Okay, secondly, with Protective Life, we have a couple of examples here. The first was a female age 81 seeking $3.3 million of permanent coverage for estate planning. The solution was Protective's ECSV rider, competitive underwriting, and perseverance through the case.
Now, that rider is really unique. That's probably the only reason these guys won this case. I wish I had time to get into it, boy.
Next time, yes, absolutely. So basically what had occurred is Protective's offer on the 81-year-old female was at the top of the market, winning the case, and we're able to place $176,000 in target premium.
Let me just say that number again. $176,000 of target premium.
Target premium.
Jessica just got back from Quebec. I just want to say, s'il vous plaît, target.
Target,
Do you
indeed.
speak target? I sure do. These are the underwriting cases that we're going to get, and even better, I believe, in about 30 days. When we come back from the break, we're going to address the top substandard carriers and their table shaving programs. And don't forget to enroll in the IULUniversity.com for the best training, education, and sales support when it comes to life insurance for retirement income.
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Welcome to the Brokers Alliance Workshop. I'm Jessica Lopez, and that's Steve Savant. What are you doing?
I'm sandbagging standard and substandard cases for my producers for the impaired risk season.
Steve means he's holding back hard-to-place cases for submission until November.
But if your client needs coverage now, we'll have it underwritten, have the policy owner pay the quarterly premium, and then we'll resubmit it in November.
If you have cases that have been declined, postponed, or heavily rated, we'll package your case with the right company for the best offer.
So let the sandbagging begin. Well, welcome back to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm Steve Savant with Jessica Lopez. And remember, you can order today's giveaways at thebiz at brokersalliance.com. And just a heads up, before moving forward with any of the ideas on the show, always consult your tax advisor and broker-dealer compliance officer. And when talking about table shaving programs, we're talking about from the most recognized impaired risk carriers. And the reason we're talking to you now at the front of the month is we want you to start thinking about this. Remember, we're still sandbagging, we're still holding back cases if we can do it, but we want you to know who are the shavers out there, and there's a lot of health credit issues going on here, but most of these people are playing up to age 70. Most of them are paying up to age 70, and they're shaving 3 tables. There's even a few out there that are in table D land going all the way down to standard.
Absolutely.
So let's walk through this. And by the way, the grid that we're reading from is a grid that you can order. It's one of our show giveaways. Just say, Steve, I want that entire table shaving and lifestyle credit program, and we'll even throw in, just to remind me of this, we'll throw in Lincoln Benefit's new health credit. They completely revamped their Sherlock program. It's no longer there. They got a whole lifestyle credit boot camp. It seemed like a manual. And I'm also going to send you the Genworth manual that we did last month because we had a lot of requests for that. So just order it, thebiz at brokersalliance.com.
Yeah, that was a great piece. Competing carriers and so forth. Just basically taking a look to see where everybody plays. It's fantastic. By disease.
By disease. That was great.
Yeah, it's great. Also, just so you know, you can actually also go to our website, go to brokersalliance.com .com/impaired underwriting, and you can actually have access to all of our questionnaires. It's by disease, so if you're not too sure which questions you need to ask your clients, they have a heart issue, cancer history, DUI, whatever the case is, you can use that as a guide. They don't need to sign it. Just fill it out over the phone perhaps and send it on over to us, and we can make sure that we get you with the information that you need. With our table shaving and lifestyle credits, I wanted to point out, first of all, the carriers that have opportunities for all plans, permanent and term. More and more carriers are coming on board in terms of opening this up to all product lines, not just permanent coverage, which is great for us. So American General, first of all, does have that available for all plans. With this particular offering, applicants with one rate class improvement of 4 or more of possible 16 healthy credits apply. And for details regarding the credits that do qualify or the health conditions that provide them with credits, I should say, think of it as extra credit in class. It has to do with how you're taking care of yourself, when you were diagnosed, if you're taking your medications and so forth.
Oh, by the way, that's the only way I got through school was extra credit.
I tell my kids all the time, it's like, you know what, you're kind of slipping there as C. Is there anything extra that you can do there?
Yep.
AXA Equitable has this available on all plans, and the Good Health Credit Program is available for all eligible proposed insureds up to a Table D, and this is for non-smokers only.
Yeah, Table D.
Right.
Table D.
Now, John Hancock has this available on their permanent plans only. However, their credits are Table 3 to Standard, and again, it has to do with the crediting program.
And just a little side note, remember, they all say, like this in this case, on Hancock, they say, only on permanent. Well, we'll see. Come November, people
Right.
get loose about their regs, and we'll just see. Okay, go
Exactly.
ahead.
Lincoln Benefit, they recently changed from their Sherlock program to a Healthy Credits program. And basically with the changes that they made there, it just made it easier for us to basically qualify for higher face amounts for your clients, and also open this up to all products. Before it was just permanent products. So for that, you have credits up to 2 table ratings, 2 table shaves, and expanded to include all products, as I mentioned, up to $2 million for a term. And for permanent, they've actually gone to automatic reinsurance limits.
And just a little heads up, their products at that super geriatric ages, like in the 80s. If you got people that are up there in those age groups, the octarian market is huge, but shockingly. And you need to look at LBL because they're really a player in that space. Standard, substandard place, and especially when I'm looking at credits like this, especially if they revamp the whole thing, they're going to be I know they're going to be a player in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely. And the nice thing about this is that all of these carriers have basically gone through and said, okay, look, as a rule of thumb, we're going to look at your client, and if it fits this criteria and they were initially approved at a Table 2, we're going to go ahead and look for these credits automatically and help bump it up. We just make sure that they actually do that, and we vouch for you and make sure that it gets done. But it saves a lot of the
I
headache.
hate to think that we actually have to make them do it, but okay, whatever. I guess we do.
Now, MetLife has the Met Edge. This applies to both permanent and term insurance. So cases that would be rated Table B or C for 1 or 2 minor medical impairments or non-medical risk to be upgraded to a Table B or Standard. So, as you can see, everybody has a little bit, they all have different rules, but we're here to help make sure that all is clarified and you understand what's going on.
Just a little side note again, Metropolitan, huge retention. If you got a big case and you want to stay under the jumbo limits and not have to play with their retention is so high. I mean, you don't have to play in the automatic or the usually facultative. They could be a big player in the fourth quarter, so just keep that in mind.
Absolutely. Now, Nationwide, I had mentioned on yesterday's show as well, they're coming up with an opportunity here for you at the end of the year. Basically, you're able to go ahead and get in your preferred cases and potentially get a preferred plus. They also have their PIP program, which is a placement improvement program. This offers a table shave from Table C to Standard, and this is on their permanent product line. All right, outside of them, we also have an opportunity with Principal. They have their ASAP, which is their automatic standard approval program. This improves ratings from a Table 3 or flat extras to up to $7.50 per thousand to Standard. So that's kind of unique. When they're actually throwing in the flat extra ratings there, offering up an ability to go ahead and better that offer.
We have a spreadsheet that we've done at Table D as in dog. And the reason I bring it up is because then you can start saying, wow, here are the premiums at D, who are going to be the table shavers, and when Jessica and I come back on the Halloween show, we're going to tell you who the players are so you can take your Table D spreadsheet and make it work for your client. And remember, you can watch this show and all our shows by clicking on the red on-demand video button right on our homepage at brokersalliance.com. Well, that's the Buzz on the Biz for today. Get in the zone, the business insurance zone.
The Biz is brought to you by Brokers Alliance, a national leader in insurance products, support services, and educational workshops. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.